A dark screen with a slow pulse of light, like a heartbeat of the financial world. Fast cuts of global stock markets flashing red and green. A clock ticking as digital numbers speed up. Drone shot over a city as lights flicker like data streams. A globe spinning with debt numbers floating around it. Crowds moving through streets as financial news plays in the background. Close-up of newspapers showing national debt rises again. Confused faces watching market crashes on TV. A silent boardroom where men in suits whisper behind closed doors. Dusty old books opening with pages about early banking systems, paintings of old kings and empires fading into modern leaders, maps of old trade routes transforming into digital financial networks, gold coins sliding across a table until they stop moving, a vault door closing on a pile of gold, a pen signing the first major loan agreement in dim candlelight, old bankers observing economic chaos through thick glass windows, a handshake between a king and a banker under shadows, massive ledgers filled with ink calculations about interest. Early factories running on borrowed capital, war scenes showing cannons, smoke, and financing documents. A banker stamping approved on a government loan. Empires collapsing as new banks rise in the background. A timeline showing banking families gaining influence. A dark mechanical wheel turning labeled DEBT. Old money morphing into paper. Currency. Crowds cheering as new central banks form. A secret meeting room with notes spread across a table. Men pointing at charts showing how to control money supply. A glowing logo of the first central bank. Governments signing agreements with central banks. Gold bars melting into digital numbers. A switch flipping from gold standard to fiat money. Banks typing numbers into systems that create loans instantly. Shocked citizens seeing the new currency rules. A giant financial engine assembling from gears and data streams. Cracks forming in the economic system as debt levels rise. A family struggling to pay bills on a kitchen table. Workers receiving smaller paychecks as prices climb. A digital graph spiking upward showing inflation. Leaders holding emergency meetings as pressure increases. Governments issuing massive bonds to keep the system stable. Banks printing more credits to feed the machine. Corporations celebrating new loan approvals. 2008 housing market collapse shown through falling rooftops. Banks collapsing like dominoes. Workers packing boxes in offices as layoffs spread. A global panic button flashing red. Central banks rushing to inject more money. Loan documents piling higher and higher. Stock markets rising again powered only by debt. A scale tipping as the machine grows heavier. Everyday prices rising in grocery stores. Students drowning in student loan documents. Medical bills stacking on hospital counters. Rent increasing on digital apartment screens. Citizens scanning credit cards while stressed. Governments drowning in giant animated debt charts. Corporations balancing on credit towers. The machine glowing brighter as interest flows in. A digital storm forming over global markets. Banks shifting from paper to digital screens. Debt data traveling through fiber optic cables. High-frequency algorithms trading at superspeed. Powerful servers controlling new money flow. Nations linking their systems to global markets. Failed reform plans burning up like paper. Leaders arguing about budget deficits. Economists warning about the next crisis. News headlines screaming, debt crisis imminent. Governments presenting stimulus plans on live TV. More loans being approved despite warnings. Central banks lowering interest rates to zero. Citizens cheering without knowing the consequences. Debt spirals shown as giant vortex animators. Images of global protests against rising costs. Food prices climbing on supermarket screens. A young couple failing to buy their first home. Global debt counter hitting 200 trillion, then 300 trillion. Maps showing countries buried under red debt markers. Shadowy figures watching markets from dark rooms. A giant machine rotating with gears labeled banks, loans, interest. Money flowing like liquid into the machine. The machine growing larger with each crisis. Governments kneeling beside central banks for help. Credit cards cutting through the air like blades. Students crossing graduation stages holding loan chains. A family's savings shrinking into small coins. Rent spikes displayed on digital billboards. News anchors stunned by inflation reports. Large corporate towers lit with green profit signs. Nations pushing deeper into deficits. Markets shaking with each interest rate change. Charts showing inflation cycles repeating for decades. The machine towering over skylines across the world. A close-up of a hand holding shredded money. A globe wrapped in spinning layers of debt. A shadow of the machine cast across the earth. People walking unaware beneath the machine's shadow. A question mark appearing over the global financial map. Final shot, the machine pulsing like a heartbeat as the narrator says the warning line.